Am I live? I didn't mean to go live yet. What's this do? Nothing anymore. Could you guys hear me and see me already? All right, sure enough, we're live. All right. Well, let's do it, shall we? All right. We have an excellent connection today. That's the first time this has ever happened. All right, well, there we go. Well, welcome to the August live stream. Haven't done one of these in a minute and super excited to be on here with all y'all. I see a couple people watching live right now. Good to have you. Got started a little early, but that's all right. In case you're brand new here, my name is Sam Sarston. I have a local SEO agency out in Bend, Oregon, and it's called ThenCan. And I also have Local SEO Academy, a small community of local SEO providers that includes some courses. And so one of the flagship courses for that is the GBP Expert course. It just turned a little over a year old recently, so we went through and updated the lessons. And so in honor of that, because a bunch of GBP stuff, Google Business Profile stuff is fresh on my brain, I figured we could go through and talk about that, especially as it relates to 2025 as we go into 2026. You know, we are looking at a new age, right? AI is taking over, as they say. GPT-5 was released last week, or yesterday, I should say. And so I'm sure everybody's losing their minds. I mostly just said that so it'd be in the transcript, so maybe they'll suggest the video later. But so yeah, what should we be thinking about with the GBP moving forward? So before we jump into anything that's, you know, any premeditated thoughts or anything like that, I just wanted to open to the floor, see if anybody has any questions or anything, you know, while you're watching maybe some of our content recently, any questions you might have had, and give you a chance for that. So I'm looking at the chat right now. I see Derek. Hello, Derek. Good to have you. He's a loyal live viewer. I love having you on, Derek. And we got Anshin in the building. Let's see. There's 1,000 people watching this live stream right now. Just kidding, there's 6. But, you know, we're making progress. It used to only be 2. And one of them was my mom. Just kidding. She never watched the live stream. Love you, Mom. All right, let me make sure I got everything hooked up here. Seeing if we have any questions here. If we don't have any questions, you know me, I like to talk. So I have things that I can discuss. One thing I will bring up, you know, in case you're newer, you're catching the replay later, and you're trying to keep up is, let's see here, visibility, public, apply. Okay, so let's see, how do I share my screen here? All right, make sure everybody can still hear me. Oh, you guys can hear me talking on YouTube too. There we go, let me turn that off. There we go, okay. The little circle's messed up. Well, we're gonna fix that live. No, we're not. Look at that. This is real professional grade production value, guys. Okay, there we go. Bam. All right, we're in business now. All right, that's how you know this is a professional production here. So what I'm showing you over here, hopefully, if I'm doing this right, is this is like YouTube Studio. In case you don't have a YouTube channel, that's what it looks like on the back end. And we have some recent content that's been pretty good. So I wanted to highlight some of the things that we have here because some people maybe have been missing out on some of the stuff. I know the algorithm only suggests some things, and so I wanted to put this out here. Hey Tom, I see you jumping into the chat over there. So this week I dropped a new video that's basically aimed at contractors. And so the point of this video is, if you were starting from, look, he's wearing the same hat as me. What's that guy up to? If you were starting from absolute scratch, what would you do? And the interesting thing about this, after I talk about kind of this case study here where we did this with a roofer, is I'm recommending kind of a different path than most videos are recommending. And really the point of this video is how do we get through the Google Business Profile verification, the video verification, I should say, without having to do it, because that would be amazing, right? We don't want to have to do the video verification. It's annoying. And so this video basically tells you how to do that. And I will say, Darren Shaw, I'm always afraid to do stuff live, but Darren Shaw, let's see, Google Business Profile video or instant verification. Yes, here's the post. So he has a post on LinkedIn and also on his email newsletter where he basically goes over like how to do this. And it was really cool to see something like this. This was about a year ago when he posted this, but it's still accurate today. Like these are the actual like results. I just realized I had my DMs up. That was silly. Doesn't matter. Most of them are just spammers. Thanks LinkedIn for being awesome. Anyway, the point of the video is to tie back to that, where if you can get Insta verified, it's so much easier than having to do the video verification process. However, if you do get stuck on the video verification, you know that we have a video that can help you out, and so be sure to check out that video. Look at that guy's face. He's doing good. All right, let's go back to full screen. We got ourselves a question. Hey, you. Said, what's the point of using local Falcon, local dominator, other metrics for GBP if they don't suggest ways to compete? Or am I missing something? So is the question like, if it's not giving you advice, why use it? Is that the question? That's what I'm getting from that question there. Let's see. Are other metrics for GBP if they don't suggest ways to compete? Yeah, well, I mean, they kind of do, right? I have to pull up a different Google account to get to our local Falcon. Let me see if I can. If you want to know how right now we could do one live. Correct, okay. Whoever's first in the chat for this, give me your name of your business, location, and keyword you want to do a GeoGrid for. We'll do it right now live. And we can take a look at the report here. We do a quick scan, looking over at the chat. Let's see here. Ooh, you get 1,000 free credits if you leave them a review on G2. Let's see. I'll do one right now. We can do another one in a second. So again, if you put your business name, I need that to put you in there. And then the keyword that you want to check and the location. Run one scan. Okay, so right now, while we're waiting for somebody in the chat to pop up, I'm going to run a scan for our business. I think I did SEO near me. So let's see where we're at. This usually takes a couple minutes. And I want to show you kind of what a full report looks like. So the first reason why I think it's good to use one of these, you hear a lot of local SEOs recommend this, is it's really good for baseline vitals. And this is really more from a selling standpoint. So hear me out for a second, right? If you meet with a prospect, okay, I got my agency hat on right now. I'm not advocating for local business right now. I'm advocating for the SEO providers, but I'm about to switch it up here in a second. So, if I'm trying to, sell SEO services to somebody and I can show up to them and I show them a heat map that is all 20 pluses, which is what I see a lot, right, with businesses that haven't done any SEO before, then that kind of gets them thinking like, maybe I should be doing local SEO, right? Maybe I should be putting efforts into this. And so that's one reason why it's good. And then as the provider, as you start to do things, you can hopefully show them a map that's starting to rank a little bit higher. And you can be like, look, see, what we're doing is working. And, there is like, we should, like, it would not be prudent if I didn't mention the fact that there's just natural variation, right? Volatility in the SERPs, search engine result pages, even in the map pack. And so, if we did this even if we did this every single hour throughout the day for a week, we would see, not wild changes, but we would see changes, right? Is this one working better? That one's actually worse. Okay, anyway. That's so weird. Why does it do that? Anyway. So that's the way we use it internally, is to kind of measure some keywords. Once this starts to look pretty good, like if it would look like this, I would probably say, okay, let's start looking at the next keyword or maybe the next keyword variation. Like this looks pretty solid to me. I would be pretty stoked with this. Now, the question was, why do we use this if we don't get suggestions? Well, it actually does give us some stuff. Let's see, view scan report. And so, it gives you the little grid here, right? And then they also, if for a couple extra credits, it will actually give you a little analysis. And so that's still coming up. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second when it's done. But that's the main thing, and I actually talk about this in the GBP Expert course, which is really aimed for SEO providers, right? And so, if you're a small business, if you're a local business, you're trying to figure out how to rank higher, it can be hard to take these results and actually use them for good. But there is a tool that I used in the early days, and it's called GMB Crush. I liked them because I don't use them anymore. Let's see what the pricing is. I don't have pricing. I hate when they do that. There it is. No, tell me what the actual pricing is. Okay. Let's do monthly. Yeah, the pricing went up, but the $40 a month isn't bad. The cool thing about this is it's basically Local Falcon. It's probably like a white labeled version of like Local Falcon or whatever Local Dominator uses on the back end, right? But what it does is it also gives you access to more suggestions. I wish I still had an account so I could log in and show you what this looks like. And then it also gives you, they had a lot of like resources for learning. Like they had a lot of just like little lessons. And so they'd say, like, hey, we noticed that this is still loading. Like we noticed that most of your competitors have this primary category. Okay, here we go. Yeah. It's probably a bad example, but so see how it's actually giving like some suggestions here. I'm not saying that these are the best suggestions, but they're pointing things out. One of the big things they're going to point out is like categories, right? If you go to the local ranking factors from Whitespark, local ranking factors. I was actually just pulling this up with a client today because we got to have something to go off of because Google doesn't publish their algorithm, right? And so we got map pack factors, right? Number 1 and number 7 are related to categories. So what's one of the first things that Local Falcon's talking about? It's talking about, do you have the right categories listed? And then it also talks about like, have you filled out all the category or all the sections? And then let's see, it's telling me like, you should do more posts and stuff like that. And that's pretty much what all these tools do. Do I look at these anymore? No. Does my team look at these anymore? No. But when I was first getting started with local SEO and I wasn't quite sure what I was looking for, I did look at this. And like I said, I did like GMB Crush's version better. It was actually more expensive, but it was helpful because it explained what the things were more. I like this better now because I kind of want just the bullet points, or I kind of know what they're talking about. But you can get this information manually, right? You can use Plepper to pull people's secondary categories or GMB everywhere, right? To pull other people's categories and to kind of manually do this. You can look at their GBPs to see when their last posts were, to see how active you need to be. You can see how many photos they have on their GBP. So you don't need something like this. And so the main reason why we continue to use Local Falcon to this day is to just kind of track our progress. And we don't schedule reports for the most part. We mostly just do them ad hoc when it's time for us to check in on a client, maybe on a, like a monthly basis, we're like, okay, let's compare to last month. Because again, there is volatility. We could do every week, but usually once a month is about the place where you can actually see movement. The other reason why I don't love these GeoGrids no matter what is you don't have a lot of influence on what happens outside of here. Like, spoiler alert, I live on this side of Bend, right? And so it's like showing up over here would be nice, but at the end of the day, my location is over here. So I'm only going to be able to do so good, right? And so, we're pretty sure as local SEOs that if we get reviews in other areas, that's good. But unless you're a home service provider that provides services all over the city, that's really hard to do, right? If you are an acupuncturist or a chiropractor and your clinic is right here, and you have, your number 1, 2, or 3 right here, but you're number 20 over here, you're probably not going to rank higher over here. It's just going to take time before you'll even start to chip away. But if you see here, like, I could probably look and find a scan report from a long time ago, but this is not what SEO near me looked like a year ago. And so it's all over the city, map pack, which we like to see for ThenCan Designs. But it didn't look like that. So this is kind of some evidence that you can show up all over the city, and sometimes it just takes time, right? And I like to lean on this. There's going to be a new version of these ranking factors coming out soon. Darren Shaw is actually collecting results right now, so we'll see what happens there. So I don't know if that answered your question, hey you, but let me know. And floor is open if anybody has any other questions right now. I'm trying to think, what was I doing for this? Let's see. While I'm waiting for the next question to pop up, a couple of the videos we put out recently were actually originally in summits, and Anshin was the head of one of those summits, and so or maybe partial head of both of them, right? And so one of those is this one, which was this was my entry into the Simply Profitable Web Designers one, Shannon Mattern's summit that she did. And so this one talks about, like, it's really about the mindset of recurring revenue. Not so much, I do talk about the how, but it's a lot about the mindset of, like, how do you get to the point where you're getting consistent income so that we can get help, so you can actually grow a business instead of a job. So I think that one's really good. And then this one is talking about how to build pages more systematically. And so I showed how to do it with advanced custom fields, and this was part of the Page Builder Summit, Anshin's summit. And so she graciously let me share it to the interwebs, and so be sure to check it out. Give it some more views than 113. But I'm excited to dig into this more. I'm a user of Divi, and Divi 5 has more variable type features built into it. And so I think, as we're looking, the AI tools are getting better. Again, like I mentioned, like GPT-5 came out yesterday. AI continues to evolve at a rapid rate, and so there's ways that we can leverage this to get pages out quicker. And so definitely want to figure out how do we do that. And so being systematic about it. And this just kind of goes back to old school, like computer programming, like setting up, if you think about the bones of your website, if they're always the same, and then you swap out, say, the H1s on those location pages, you could make those variables, and very easily you would just, swap those out on the back end. And so that's kind of the system that I'm talking about. That's just how content management systems work. And so, it's kind of an evolving idea. We've not used it a lot in our agency, but I'm hoping to do it more. And I think that we can leverage that more as these tools get better, where we're not necessarily busting out, 100 pages at a time, but where we can get to that right size amount that our clients need. All right, floor is open for any questions if we have any. I can hear the dog barking in the background. I hope you guys can't hear that. She's very sad because she just she got fixed on Wednesday, so I might let her come in here in a second, just so she's not all alone. But yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm going to leave some space here for a second for anybody to ask any. And we got the cone of shame over here. Taking it off. She's free. All right. Anshin said, is Sam cutting out for anyone else? That's very likely because I don't have the best internet. For some reason, the main internet provider in this town has terrible upload speeds. I don't know how they can get away with that and charge us exorbitant rates. So hopefully it's not too bad. I have had that happen before. Is it the, I'm going to put this in the chat. Is it the sound or the video? I just realized I'm logged into my personal YouTube over there. Hi, Peach. Sound only. Okay. I'm gonna. Okay, I'm gonna switch back. We're just gonna live with it. Hopefully, hopefully that maybe gets better over time. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them. Remember, this is a Q&A. And so now you're out. Yeah, I was out. I should be back by now. Okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing here. And so a couple videos that I've released recently have been related to AI search. I'm trying to not do too much related to AI search because I know that can be annoying if you're watching just nothing but AI search videos and you want, you know, maybe some more tried and true tactics and things like that. But there are two videos on the channel right now that I highly encourage you to check out. One of them is this, let's see, the first one I would watch is this one, AI searches coming for your local business and why you should care. So that was a replay of a presentation that I did kind of in my area. And so that's not always the best when you're watching a replay, but luckily the audio is pretty good on it. And so basically what I'm breaking down is kind of like what AI search is and kind of what it looks like. So it's a good primer if you don't know anything. So I encourage you to check that one out if you're kind of starting from scratch. And then the one that followed was a little bit more about how do we actually show up in AI search. And so I actually did this one live too. And then the recording did not work well. I had double audio, which was not good. So hopefully that's not happening right now. And so in this one, I'm breaking down what we've seen as far as like how you could show up in AI chat, or sorry, AI search, and really like where we should be putting most of our weight. And really, you know, this slide I think is a very telling story, knowing that ChatGPT is 60% and Copilot's about 15%, and knowing that Copilot uses ChatGPT on the back end. That means that the AI chatbot that we should be optimizing for right now is ChatGPT. So And also that Gemini is right below it with about 15%. And if you're optimizing for Google SEO, you're probably optimizing for Gemini. So that's just kind of like my thought process behind it. So yeah. So those are definitely 2 videos to check out. And then let's see here. What's another good one? This one was actually really popular. If you haven't checked this one out yet. So this one is actually looking at, I always get them confused, whether it's Mr. Rooter or Roto-Rooter. I think it's Mr. Rooter. And so Mr. Rooter, you know, I think it's each location averages $1.2 million per year. And so like, how do we emulate what they're doing? And so that's kind of what this video was about, was looking at their back end, like, you know, looking at their GBP, looking at their on-page setup, and then looking at their backlinks strategy. And so definitely worth checking that out and kind of seeing like, oh, that kind of gives me some ideas of what I can do for my business, what I could do for clients' businesses. So that was a really good video right there. So if you haven't checked that one out, I definitely want to check that out. Remember, we have a live chat right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. You know, one of the reasons why I'm kind of doing a live today is because of Local SEO Academy. So I'll kind of do a little commercial here right now. But so Local SEO Academy has turned a year old. Back in May, actually, believe it or not. That's crazy. And so we have the GBP Expert course as one of the flagship courses in there. There's, I think, over 4 hours of content just on the GBP in there. And then this was actually just updated this month. And so that's why I'm kind of doing a more GBP-centric Q&A today. So if you have any questions about GBPs, this would be the time to ask them. But we also have other courses in there, including the Local SEO Masterclass, the deliverables course. I need to update this. And then there's also courses on selling, my actual SOPs. They got me to my first 100,000 as an agency, and then I've taken all the AI search content I have and put it inside the community as well. And there is my messy desktop, in case you wanted to see what that looked like. And then the best part of Local SEO Academy, in my opinion, is the community. So we have weekly Q&As. We've been having monthly expert trainings, and I think it's pretty affordable. Now, if you don't think this is good enough, I got a special deal right now going on. So if you're not in the community, which I know a lot of people that are on here are, but if you're not, there's a coupon, LSA 1 year disc. You use that code and you'll get your first month for 70% off. And you know, if you don't like it, you can always cancel. There's no, you know, that's how it works, right? And so, but check it out. I think you'll find, well, bless you to the dog. Go in there, check it out, see if you find value. This is really for SEO providers. This is not for people that have their own local business. And if anybody that has their own local business is watching this down the road, I think the best thing for you to do next is to head over to thencandesigns.com/SEO, click that orange button and get a free SEO strategy video for your business. It takes like 2 to 5 minutes to fill out the form, and I send you back a 10-minute long video, and that's completely free. So you want to check that out. So yeah, as I was going through the GBP Expert course, it gave me a chance to think about the things that have changed in the last year for local SEO, any updates that I wanted to make to the course specifically. And I will say that one of the biggest takeaways that I had that I wasn't really expecting to have was that not a whole lot changed. That was actually pretty cool. It's good for me as a course creator, not having to completely start from scratch. And so that was a nice surprise. I will say when it comes to the ranking factors, there's definitely been some changes. And I'm excited to see the new local ranking factors from Whitespark, hopefully coming out later this year, so that we can get those insights. Sorry, I'm looking at the dog because she's up to no good over there. What are you doing? Hey, show yourself. Yeah, don't mind my mountain of files / sweatshirts in the corner there. So So when it comes to like what ranking factors have changed, like where have we seen differences? I do think the recency of reviews is definitely a stronger signal than it used to be. That I think everybody's always thought that was important, but I think that might be one of the most important ranking factors right now. And so encouraging clients, or if you are a local business owner, getting your own reviews, like getting a steady stream of high quality reviews is massively important to just gonna eat the microphone. It's massively important to showing up higher, especially in the map pack. Yeah, we're not gonna chew on that. I know you're on drugs right now, huh? So you want to eat it. She's like, that looks like a toy. So recency of reviews, massively important. So we want to be getting a steady stream of high quality reviews, and we have a video that can help you with that. So definitely want to check that out. And then the other big takeaway that I got, and this is going to be more for the SEO providers out there, right, is, come here. She's like, why won't everybody give me attention? When it comes to doing local SEO, some people like to just offer Google Business Profile Management. And I think that is an okay service, but like if you look, like let's look back at the ranking factors here. Let's see, where do they go? Local ranking factors. So going back to the map pack. Sorry, it's really hard for me to mute the microphone really fast. So if you look at the ranking factors here, a lot of them in the top 10 are all related to the GBP in some way, shape, or form, right? But as soon as we get down to number 11, like that's keywords in the GBP landing page title. And so that directly has to do with the website that your GBP is pointing to. For most businesses, that's going to be your homepage, right? And then as you go down the ranking factors, we start to see more stuff that's related to the website, having a dedicated page for each service, keywords in the headings from your GBP landing page. And so your website absolutely influences where you rank in the map pack. And so when you're just doing GBP management and you are not offering like on-page SEO optimization as well, like you are very much you are not providing, in my opinion, I don't think you're providing a complete service to your clients. And there's one video that we had not that long ago, this one, which is kind of SEO agency scams. And I actually have a fun video coming out soon that's going to be kind of the antithesis of this video. So be on the lookout for that one. It's going to be like SEO agency green flags instead of red flags, right? And so the scams that I mentioned in this video, one of them is click-through rate manipulation. And so that's been this thing that's been pushed this year, and it's just not something that holds. Every time they've done research on it, they'll show, let's see, I'm trying to see if I can find the data here. So it's like they got a spike and then it goes back down. It's something like that. Every time they've done research on it, this is what happens. Like I don't want to say there are no shortcuts in local SEO, but like think about that from, like would you rather have a shortcut that you're able to stand on for a couple weeks or a couple months? Like, yeah, that might be nice to get some leads off of that. That's good. But at the end of the day, like I want to do sound strategies that are going to work in the long run, even if it takes a little bit longer to get the results. And so the only exception I would really have for doing just GBP management is if they don't have access to their website. So that would be like an insurance agent, or sometimes a real estate agent. You know, these people that have, I like to call them corporate overlords. They probably don't like me saying that, but you know, they don't have access to their website. They have this little canned website, and they can't really change anything besides their name and maybe their description, right? And so for those people, I say, you know, screw it. Like, you might as well offer just GBP management to them, because that's all you can do. And it's a nice way to make a buck. And I will say, it can get results. We had a client, you know, I say make a buck, and I say that kind of tongue in cheek, right? But at the end of the day, like, we had a client that he had an insurance agency, and we worked together, you know, because I knew him from networking and stuff like that. And so I said, yeah, let's try it out, man. And, you know, he was starting to show up in the map pack. He was starting to get phone calls. So I say make a buck, but also, like, the goal is to get results for the client, right? That's what it's really about. And so can GBP management make the needle move without working on the website? It can, but like we saw from the ranking factors, working on the website at the same time is massively helpful. So while learning everything you can about the GBP is paramount, because about 50% of searches end up in the map pack or more places, you want to keep digging deeper. And that's where the website comes in. And then ultimately, that's where backlinks start to come in, right? Because if you're not building authority, you're really not doing local SEO. Let me see if I can pull that up. As if you go down, it starts to talk about links. Sorry, it starts to talk about backlinks in 19 and 21, and then citations at 22. So, yeah, and 25 and 26. And we're still in the map pack. We're not talking about organic right now. We're talking about just the map pack. So, so think about that. So if you're trying to work on your Google Business Profile SEO, your Google Maps SEO, you need to be working on your website and building authority through locally relevant, industry relevant backlinks. It's just a fact. Do we have any questions out there? This is like the most people I've ever had on a live stream. We have 800 people right now. Just kidding, we have 8 people, but it seriously is like the most people we've ever had at one time, which is great. But we don't have anybody asking questions today. What questions do we have? We could talk about AI search, or we could talk about local SEO in general. But if you have any GBP questions, I'm trying to think of GBP questions I've been getting a lot lately. Yeah, that video I was showing at the start, I know it says like contractor SEO if you're starting from scratch. But seriously, like, the point of that video is how do you not get a video, how do you get around video verification? Because a lot of people get stuck on that step. I've seen so many people get stuck on that step. And if you are on that step and you're stuck there, the biggest thing that you probably need to do is checking to see if I have keys in my pocket. You need to put a key in a keyhole and unlock something. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people be stuck, and then I say, have you unlocked anything in the video? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you need to unlock something. Like, it could be your front door if you're a home-based business. It could be your rig, you know, if you're a home service provider and you got a car, right? You know, maybe you're just a gal that has a cleaning company, right? It's your Prius, and you know, it's your Prius with a bunch of cleaning supplies in the back. Like, that's perfectly fine, right? So, yeah, just make sure you're unlocking something, right? Let's see here. What else do I got for you? GBP, yeah. What do you think? She doesn't have any GBPs yet. You want to open a business? Doggy tree business? Let's see, what's another thing we were talking about recently? You know, a question I get a lot is like, how do we expand our kind of where we're ranking in GBP land? And that's hard, right? I alluded to this earlier, but I want to bring it back up because I don't think anybody really has the $1 million answer for this yet. We just, like, we know, like, your profile needs to be optimized, right? Like, that's a fact. We know that much. From there, like, besides the GBP being optimized, like, what else do we need? We need to be getting a steady stream of reviews. And it's also been shown that getting reviews in multiple, like, all over your area can help you show up from those spaces. Now, that's hard if you have a physical location. More recently we've taken on some more like holistic medicine providers, which I consider like chiropractor, acupuncturist, massage therapy, things like that, right? And so it's like, how do we get these people to get reviews from all over when they have a physical location, right? And because your best chance to get a review is while they're still at your location. And so what I would recommend you do is you get something, and we've done the reverse of this before, where you get QR code is a random business card on my desk, a gal with a co-working space in Redmond. She's got a QR code on her card, right? And so we've had some businesses that we've worked with will make special business cards. It's cheap. It's like 20, 25 bucks to get a stack of cards from Canva. And you can always go to your local printer too if you want. But you get a stack of business cards that just say, here's how to, thank you for, working with our business. We really appreciate the business and we're really looking to grow. And a way that you can help us do that is by leaving us a Google review. And, here's, a good referral would, would explain the type of service that we went over. A better type of referral would be, a better type of review would say where where the service was provided. This is really important for like home service providers, less important for those holistic medicine providers. And then the best review would include some pictures or a short video. If you have those things, that would be amazing. Thank you for trying to help grow our business. We really appreciate you, and we hope you come back again sometime soon. That right there will put you ahead of so much of your competition if you could be working on that. And the big thing, if you have a physical location, is you give that to somebody, and you have them fill that out when they get home. And so you give that to them, and you say, hey, when you get home, can you fill this out? And they're going to forget, so you're going to have some sort of follow-up system. And I don't think it's important to automate this. Most of the people, if you're an SEO provider, you're a local business owner that's watching this channel, you might get 20, 50, 100, maybe 200 clients a year, right? You're telling me you can't send 4 text messages throughout the year per, what would that be? Like 4 texts a week. And it might be the thing that gets you to show up in Google Maps and help grow your business. Like, I know you can do that. Can you do that, Peach? She's been cooped up for days. She's really sad. Yeah, I know. You want this weird toy. Huh. It's not a toy. So kind of the 2 versions of that is if you have a physical location, getting people to go home and leave the review there could get more signals throughout the city if you do it that way. And then if you're a home service provider, so you're going to people's homes, then just giving them the card at their house and just asking them to fill it out, and then just making sure you have some sort of follow-up process. It doesn't need to be super robust, but if you just sit down and send them maybe an email at first. I think an email is kind of the softest, and then you can do maybe a text message. It's a little bit more personal, and then maybe a phone call, and then at that point just leave them alone. They're not going to leave you a review, and it's fine, right? I don't leave a review every time I go somewhere, and you probably don't either, right? But if you provide a really good service, then if it seems like they care, maybe they'll do it, right? But people get busy, right? They forget to do stuff. I got stuff on my to-do list that I've been meaning to do that I haven't gotten to. It's okay to nudge people. It's not okay to be annoying, right? But it's okay to nudge people. But anyway, so those are a couple things. How do we take over the city? I do think it has a lot to do with authority over time. I'm gonna pause for a sec here. So if you have any more questions, drop them in the chat, and I'm gonna take care of Peach for a sec, the dog. But yeah, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat. We got about 15 minutes left. Right. And we're back. So let's see, what do we got? It's 3:43 over here, so we got about 17 minutes left. Just checking back in on the chat, see if we're having any activity. Not seeing any. All right. Yeah, let me know what your guys' biggest struggles are when it comes to local SEO right now. Love to engage, get any questions answered. I will say, like, the last time, let me see here. Let me actually look at something. I actually did a questionnaire recently from my newsletter. I think most of you are already signed up for the newsletter, but in case you're not, definitely check out Local SEO Lowdown. .com and get subscribed. What are you doing? I spent a lot of time on those. Let's see here. I think I did it through here, but maybe not. I'm just pulling up the submissions from the last time I did a questionnaire. So, I spend about 1 to 2 hours on every local SEO lowdown because, I care about it. I like looking this stuff up, and I like getting the information. So let's see here. And what I mean by that, like, I like getting the information is I like staying up to date because, not only am I trying to run an SEO company, right? I'm trying to teach SEO to people. And so it's like, how do we stay up to date? Like, I got to get in the weeds every once in a while, and I got to look and see what other people are saying. And also, check with my team, see what's working on a day-to-day basis. Let's see here. So I'm just going through right now. I'm looking at some of the responses here. It has people's names, right? Share the screen. Maybe I can get rid of the names and the email so I can show this to you. Let me make sure. Yeah, this looks pretty good. So these are some of the responses we got when I did this form here. And so I asked people, like, what's your biggest challenge, either with your local SEO or trying to do SEO for clients? And so, a lot of people said getting my clients more leads from Google. For that category, trying to figure out what matters most, sifting through all the information, trying to figure out what matters most, getting my clients more leads from Google. So, when it comes to, this really comes down to following what I like to call the TLC formula. And so, TLC stands for traffic, leads, and clients. And so the first step for local SEO is ranking higher, right? You can rank higher, then what that should do over time is get you to show up for more keywords. If you show up more, then people will start to see you. If people start to see you, they'll start to click, and that's when they turn into traffic. Eventually, those will turn into leads through contact form submissions and phone calls. Not everyone will be qualified, and then the last step is they turn into clients, customers, or patients, right? So that's kind of the flow. And so the big thing is you've got to start at the beginning. And really, before you start to rank for more keywords, you need to know what keywords to rank for. And that's why you got to start with keyword research. And so, if you haven't already, which I think everybody here has, but if you haven't already, then you're going to want to grab the 30-day local SEO playbook, especially if you're a local business and you're watching this and you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, in the 30-day local SEO playbook, we break down a lot of what we do. It is a little surface level because it's free. I hate to break it to you, but it's free. But it really does dig deep. And, this I think is one of the better graphs because it kind of shows you, like, oh, here's how it works. Like, we are trying to, think about each one of these colors as a different set of keywords that we're going to be ranking for. And that's how we're going to get more clients, right? And so, the first thing that we talk about in the 30-day local SEO playbook is finding your primary keywords. And hey, look, there's even a video on the topic if you like to watch videos. Look at that funny guy. That's an old video, but it's a goodie. So breaking down how do we use even free tools and like the free version of SEMrush to figure out, like, what are the right keywords we want to go after. And then from there, one of the first things I recommend people do, kind of like we were talking about earlier today, is setting up tracking. Like if you don't know what your results are, then like how do you know you're moving the needle the right direction? So you want to be tracking the SERPs, which is the search engine result page. I recommend using something like SERPFox in the early days. Eventually you might upgrade to something like SEMrush, or there's some other tools that are out there that are cheaper than SEMrush. But SERPFox is great. They're like, let's see if this is the pricing page. No, that'd be too smart if I did that. But if you click over here, you can get 10 keywords for free. If you just focus on like the top keywords for you or that first client that's paying you, that's exactly what you need. Over time you can bump up to this point where you get 100 keywords, right? But like just you're going to grow into it. You're not going to go into it. And then track your impressions in Google Search Console, traffic in Google Analytics. You can monitor your technical SEO and Ahrefs site audit tool for free. And then I should clean this up a little bit, but I recommend using Clarity. You don't have to use Google Tag Manager. It makes it a little more secure. And then I did not mention here I didn't mention like Local Falcon here, but it would be good to run a GeoGrid here if you can. And I might check back out. I used to use this back in the day, Localo. They asked me to do a video for them. Like, you want to do a partnership? I was like, well, I don't know. How much are you guys? Yeah, that just seems like a lot. It's not bad for 10, but I also feel like I can do this in Local Falcon for less. So I don't know. I need to evaluate it better. As much as I like making money doing videos, I would rather, keep my integrity and recommend the tools that I actually use. But I wouldn't mind comparing them and being honest about it. So maybe they're down for that. So we'll see. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm just showing you right now like what the 30-day local SEO playbook is all about, and like how much content is in here and how useful it is. And so, if you're just trying to figure it out, if you're doing it on your own, like you don't have to go at it blind. We put the 30-day local SEO playbook out there to help people that are trying to do their own SEO and can't afford to invest in a local SEO agency. We have other resources available too. We have a paid strategy resource out there where we sit down, we build out the strategy over about a month-long span and report it back to you, and then from there you can at least feel like you have a guided process. We even have started to dabble with doing a done with you service where you're doing a lot of the work, but we're sitting there holding your hand, providing the guidance along the way. Most of our clients prefer to do done for you, where they just sit back and we do the work. But there's a lot of different ways that we're trying to help local businesses, wherever local is to you, out there. And then of course, we already talked about Local SEO Academy and how we're trying to get more and more SEO providers out there so that we can do this all over the world, or at least like North America and Europe. No, we got people all over the place in Local SEO Academy, which is awesome. Let's see. We got 25 XP. I don't know what that means in the chat right now. Oh no, I got 25 XP. Okay, I see what's going on here. I'm not really sure how this works at all. The chat, I don't know if anybody knows how that works. Let's see, we're coming up on the last couple minutes here. Let me know if you have any questions for all the ride or dies that have stuck it out this far. What should I break down? Was I not sharing my screen the whole time? I think I was, wasn't I? Anyway, hopefully I was. When it comes to content, what I'm really trying to focus on moving forward is helping those people that are in that middle of the road. I think we have a lot of content out there. Go to the channel and, sort by views. It's a pretty good, don't worry about this, is SEO dead, right? You gotta have that video to get the views, right? But like, the location pages video, great. Video verification video, great. Just got over 2,000 views. How cool is that? Our GBP setup video for 2025, great. GBP for beginners, great. Local SEO for beginners, great. This was the conclusion of my, what was it? Steal my local SEO strategy. Who didn't like this video? Somebody out there didn't like that. Hopefully, it was probably one of my competitors. That makes sense. And so it's like, we have a lot of videos that are aimed at beginners and even some that are at intermediate DIYers, but there's a lot of questions that I get on the way to, say, like a sales call that I really want to start answering in the content. And so I want to start talking more to the people that are in that middle of the road. And you're going to see me, I've posted a couple videos that are aimed at providers lately, and even this Q&A is maybe a little bit more aimed at the providers, but trying to answer some more of those questions. And so even starting this week, I'm going to be trying to dig deep on some of those questions I get a lot. And so if there's any questions you have like that, like here's a couple of the examples, which I'll dig into in a future video. You know, like what's your process look like? You know, how long does it take to get results? What kind of results can I expect to get? What are some of the what are some of the things your clients say about you? These are the kind of questions I get on sales calls. Like, what happens? What do I do if, I don't like things 6 months into the commitment, right? And so I want to handle some of these questions. I want to answer these tough questions. One of the other videos we're looking at doing, like I said, is the agency green flags, because I know that we're not the only SEO agency out there. And so I want to basically give you advice of like, okay, so if I needed to hire, if I had like a friend that lived on the other side of the country and they wanted to work with a local SEO agency that was local to them, totally makes sense to me. I like having coffee with people that I work with. What kind of questions should you be asking? How should they be answering those questions, right? It's almost like how, not from the provider standpoint, but from like the consumer standpoint, like how do you perform an SEO agency interview and how do you know if they're nailing it or not? I think that's really, really important information to have out there. And we're also just thinking about some other fun stuff, right? Like what do you do with a 1-star review? They suck. We've had a couple clients get them recently, and it's absolutely awful. I hate it. But what do you do with it? And there's certain options. We have like little sections of videos where we talk about this stuff, but I think that's something that deserves a full, 10, 15 minutes on the topic. Maybe not 10 minutes. That video could probably be a little bit shorter, but yeah. And also trying to be a little punchier. I'm trying to fill up the hour right now, because I said I'd be here for an hour. But yeah, like we can definitely keep it punchier as we move forward with some of the videos, because we got some long ones out there, in case you didn't know. Let's see, what do we got? Like this one, hour and a half. What kind of craziness is that? 1,000 people have watched that. I wonder what the watch hours is on that. 168. Interesting. 10% of people make it to the end. Okay, 5% make it to the end. It's pretty good. It's pretty good for an hour and a half long video. I'm like falling asleep around this point. That's probably why people are dropping off. I recorded that video way too late, but I'm glad that I did it because it was a good video. All right, enough of me looking at analytics live on the screen here. As you can tell, I'm not a good streamer, but I try. I try to do these things every once in a while, answer questions. I'm not seeing any more questions. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else exciting. Right now in Local SEO Academy, we are I'm going through the Local SEO Masterclass, getting that updated, making sure it's up to date. So when SEO providers want to know how to actually do local SEO that gets results for clients, that will be up to date as of today, talking about some AI search stuff. Brian came in, said, "You're doing great, brother." I love it. Thanks for the encouragement, Brian. And I'll read your question here in a second. But yeah, so doing that, and then the plan is to jump right into the deliverables course. Like how do you deliver local SEO to clients that shows up? And really cool, like just a little sneak peek into the business. Like right now I'm working with my team, going back through those original lessons and trying to figure out like how do we do that right now? Where are some places where we can tighten it up so that way I can literally just turn right around and share that stuff with the Academy and hopefully make more professional videos, because right now they're just looms. They don't need to be super fancy, right? But even something like this would be nice. We had a last second question come in. I want to launch a biz, marketing for local businesses. Do you suggest cold calling or emailing? Neither. Okay, I don't want to crap on cold calling or emailing. I think there's probably some success with emailing. Okay, so let's take a step back, Brian. You might not know this, because if you don't run a business, but I could pull up my email right now and I could show you so many spam emails that are saying, like, let's just look at the spam, right? Let's just do it really quick, right? So that's still screwed up. It's like every one of these is about link building and SEO and all this stuff. Hey, do you want to show up higher on Google? Like, you're not ranking very high. We just looked at the map pack results a second ago. We're basically in the map pack all over the city. So like, screw these SEO people. People get these emails all the time. You're going to get flagged as spam almost immediately. And so you're like constantly playing this like cat and mouse game of trying to not be flagged as spam, which is a really hard game to play. You could cold call. I don't think that's a bad strategy. It probably has a higher success rate because people are actually getting on the phone. But people get these calls all the time, and nowadays people don't even answer their phone because of this. And so if I were to start over from scratch, I think I actually just did a video on this. Let me find it. I think it was this one. This is the one I usually go to when I'm making videos. I don't know why the circles are screwed up today. I gotta look at that. But this one right here, I'll drop this in the chat. This is a good video for people to watch afterwards, if you got some time to kill. Sorry, I keep putting stuff in the chat with my personal YouTube. Don't subscribe to that guy. But this video right here, I talk about the systems you need to really get going. And in the sales part right here, let me just pull that up. I actually talk about how I would go about kind of like launching that business kind of from scratch, like starting over, like how do we do lead gen? How do we do a pipeline, right? And I talk about, yeah, right here. This is exactly what I talk about. This is the order I would do things in. I would join a BNI type. I really think that in-person like networking is back on the upswing because everybody's so starved for relationships since COVID. And so finding a single category networking referral group, I'm personally in Team Referral Network, so shout out to Team Referral Network, but it's like BNI. BNI is definitely in more places. So a single category networking referral group, your local chamber, and then just like free and low cost networking groups in your town. That is where I would start from the get-go. And then I would work on my own local SEO, so that way I'd have results. I always talk about you are your first client, so you want to start working on your own. And then I would start working on content. The reason I work on content is not so much to get clients from it, but to put a couple pieces of content out there that could support me when I'm trying to nurture a lead. A lot of times you're going to meet people at these events that aren't quite ready to convert, but I can tell you this video right here, let's go back by views. This video, right? There's a lot of videos look the same, so I get hung up on it. It's not this one. It is this video. This video right here is, I send this to almost all of my prospects, and the nice thing is it actually has like one of our clients in the video talking about his service with us and what it was like and all that good stuff. And so I don't know where it is. There it is. Good cinematic views there. And so being able to show this to somebody and so they can see real results has been super helpful. If you look, it's like, this is not a viral video, right? 922 views, nobody cares, right? But what this is showing the prospect is that we've worked with somebody and we've helped their business grow. And that's massively helpful. So what I'm talking about here when I'm saying like socials, hopefully what I say in the video is like, it's just enough to nurture leads. And maybe over time you find a channel where you can actually like build things up. But one of the keys too, which I actually build in real time, is like having a pipeline because you're going to make the most money in follow-ups. So at the end of the day, there's more than one way to skin a cat, Brian. You can do cold calls, you can do emails, you could walk door to door to businesses. I think showing up and building relationships is the best way to get going from the ground floor, especially if you want to do like marketing for local businesses in your area. Now, when you want to start to expand, that's when you might want to start to look at some of that stuff, but I would definitely start with local networking out the gate. And I think that brings us up to an hour. So thanks to everybody that stuck around. It's probably a little choppier. Hopefully Anshin could actually hear me. She said my sound was cutting out earlier. So I'll review the tapes later and see how it did. But But yeah, thanks for showing up. And thanks to everybody in Local SEO Academy for making it over a year now, and we're over 50 people in the community tier now. So again, I just want to drop that to anybody that is interested in maybe starting a local SEO business, or maybe you're a web designer and you want to add local SEO as a service. This live stream has definitely been aimed at you. Let's see here, I'm gonna drop a link right now. Let's see if I can figure out how to do it. It was in my email earlier today. You should be subscribed to the email, so you would have already got the deal. But I got an email from somebody that said, "It's midnight. Please record the live chat or the live stream." Don't worry, we're doing it. Yeah. So for everybody that's not subscribed to Local SEO Academy, oh, that's not a real link. You definitely want to check out this link right here, coming in from my personal YouTube. Oh, it's too long, damn it. Hold on a second here. You get a massive discount on your first year. And if you have trouble seeing the chat, because I know, like, for me, it's really hard to get to the chat when I'm watching like a replay, you just go to localseoacademy.co, and the discount is LSA1 YRDISC for discount. LSA 1-year discount. So check that out. If you're not already in the community, we'd love to have you. You get a massive discount on your first month. And if you love it, stick around. Let's see. Anything else I'm forgetting? Yeah. And if you're a local business owner watching this down the road, thencandesigns.com/SEO. Check it out. I'll show you what it looks like real quick as we close out the call here. /SEO should pull you up right here. Click that orange button, fill out the form, and I'll send you back a personal video about 10 minutes long telling you the next best 3 things to do for your local SEO, because I want to see you succeed. All right, that's why we do this stuff. That's why I do this stuff. And I got a whole team. We've been sitting down. We've been talking about values and stuff recently, and a big part of our values is service, helping people out there. So anyway, hope you have a good weekend. Please do something fun, and don't be a stranger. Leave comments on the videos. Stay engaged, and we'll talk more later. Now I got to remember how to actually